Good afternoon. It's Pat and Greg back at Aligned Wealth in Miami, and we are here today with a new member of our team, Travis Lazaroff, who is from the Naples market. Travis,
Welcome.
welcome, Travis. Travis works at a multifamily office in Naples that managed billions of dollars, and prior to that, he had capital markets experience. Travis, we're really excited to have you here. Tell us a little about yourself. Besides the fact that you have a CFP and you're very smart, um, tell us a little about yourself personally.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I have a beautiful wife. She beautiful 20-month-old child. She's a corporate litigator, so I'm used to being in the heat of all the time. She really keeps us in line. I grew up in South Carolina, moved to New York City early in my career and really worked on Wall Street in the financial world in the hub, focused on derivative trading, single stock options was really the bread and butter. And then I really wanted to follow my passion and work with families. And that's how I transitioned to the multifamily office and really helped manage money for a select few families. And we really focused on the institutional approach and doing what's right for families. And that's something that I really gravitated me towards Pat and Greg is doing what's best for families and coming up with, I think, where the industry is going. And I'm really excited to be a part of not only a group that I think is doing things differently, but also doing things the right way.
Maybe just talk a little. You're a planner.
Yeah.
Tell us like why you become a planner. It's very obviously very
Yeah.
valuable.
So when I transitioned from equity derivatives over to the wealth management side and working at the family office, I thought one of the best things I could do for families is figure out how to structure generational wealth. That's something that my father's an entrepreneur. And when he went to sell his business, it was something that I realized he wasn't really prepared for. So as I went through that process with him, I realized that I really need to get knowledgeable on how to create that generational wealth because most builders, most founders maybe are really good at doing what they're doing and working in the business. But when you think about working on the business in your personal life, that's something that I think doesn't really come through a lot with the business owners and founders that I've worked with. So the ability to do the certified financial planning course, understand in-depth knowledge about everything from stock options to estate planning to taxes. I think putting that all together complements really well with the investment side as well.
That's great. One of the reasons we brought you over here is we sold you on our view of the wealth business really changing. We really try not to have any biases, meaning that we're not earning money off the underlying investments that you're making, right? And our job is to grind those fees down. And we want to do best practices in every asset class because we really feel that technology, that ChatGPT moment that I talk about all the time, is here. Meaning clients are going to take their statements, they're going to put them into ChatGPT, and they're going to realize that they're actually paying too much money. Their portfolio construction wasn't that smart, and the firm that they're working with doesn't have their best interests. And I know that very much resonated with you in the marketplace. And just talk about, like, from your perspective, how does your generation kind of look at the future of wealth management?
I think for the younger generation, what you're seeing is this massive wave of generational wealth transfer. And I've heard you guys talk about that a lot. And what my generation, I think, is not really prepared for is dealing with that generational wealth moment where they come into that wealth and knowing what to do with it. The first generation maybe built this wealth. And when it comes to them, they maybe don't have the same understanding, the same financial knowledge, but then they're going to go out and try to piecemeal it together, throw it into these AI models and having somebody that understands how to put all that together. If we were to take the portfolio and put it into one of those models, that's going to come back and say, these guys are doing the right thing.
One of the things I think struck us most about you is you have that fiduciary mindset, which really
Yeah.
matches up exactly how we approach the business.
Yeah. And we think that for the first time in the wealth business, people have historically been very reluctant to fire their advisor because their advisor knows them personally. And I think we're going to see a moment where a lot of advisors are going to get fired as people really realize that their advisor did not add a lot of value over time. We focus on doing the really basic things very, very well, minimizing fees, minimizing taxes. We use passive only in public equities. All the data says you cannot beat a benchmark over time in public equities. You have to use passive. And so we use a customized direct indexing. We use active and fixed income because all the data shows you that actually active managers there persist and continue to do well. And in alternatives, we endeavor to keep costs down because we think alternatives are a mature phase. Returns are coming down in alternatives, and we're much more partial to lower cost evergreen structures for the majority of that capital. And we're going to be really selective about draw funds because we're just skeptical that, not all these stories are not working out. And our job is to deliver for those clients based on what they want from their plan. And we appreciate the fact that a lot of the younger people are really seeing the world differently.
Yeah. I mean, look, for us, it's exciting to have a G2 behind us, yourself, the second Travis on the team. I'll mention, and I know they're going to fight over who's Travis 1 and who's Travis 2. But, I think, you've told us some of what the appeal of a young advisor coming onto our platform is. We're tech forward. We're full believers in transparency. So we let our clients know exactly how much they're paying, not only for our fees, but for all the underlying fees. Everything's visible. And we're out there with a completely open architecture, providing the best solutions for the best price for our client base.
And we're really focused on what is your return after tax, because that's all that really matters. And, we're very proud of our track record, and I'm sure you're going to show it too. A lot of these families, the last 5 years, we've had tremendous returns by just staying committed to a broad-based equity strategy and not taking gains. I mean, literally, taking losses only and not gains. And we had very light commitments the last 5 years to private equity, and only recently began to add to private equity in portfolios after equity market returns have just been spectacular over the last period of time. So, Travis, it's really wonderful to have you here. We're glad that you're totally committed to our vision of a future where it's client-centric, lower fee, minimize tax, control the variables that you can, always do best practices for families.
I'm excited to be here with you guys, and I'm excited to help be that next generation. And it's going to be really, really, really fun.
Thank you, Travis.